Okay, so now we're gonna go over how to solve equations using the distributive property. So for this one, let's remember that the distributive property means that if we have a term, it can be a variable or a number that it's right outside of a parentheses with no addition or subtraction in between, then whatever that is, it's going to multiply everything inside. So here -3 will multiply 4y, and then it'll multiply -3. So we will have -3 times 4y, and then -3 times -3, right? Then plus, and the same thing is going to happen with the 4. So 4 will multiply y, and then it'll multiply 1. So we're going to have 4 times y, and then plus 4 times 1. And then this is going to equal 15. So once we have this, we are going to multiply -3 times 4y. So let's remember that the number multiplies the coefficient. So you multiply numbers times numbers, and then later on you're going to see that we multiply the same variables times the same type of variable. So here it'll be -3 times 4, which is -12y. And then -3 times -3, it's +9. Then we have 4 times y. Let's remember there's an invisible 1 in front of the y. So it's 4 times 1y, it's 4y. And then plus 4 times 1, which is 4, equals 15. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and combine the like terms. So we're going to do -12y plus 4y, right? And that is going to give us -8y. And then we also have +9 plus 4. And +9 plus 4 is going to be +13, and then equals 15. So now from here, we're going to go ahead and solve for our variable. So we have -8 and 13 on the same side of the equation as y. So we need to get rid of both of them. Remember, we always get rid of the number that does not have the variable with it first. So we're going to be getting rid of 13 first. So since 13 is adding to y, we're going to subtract. If we do it on one side, we do it on the other side. So 13 minus 13 is 0. They get eliminated, so we end up with -8y equals 2. We need to get rid of the -8. It's multiplying y, so we divide by -8 both sides. So remember, this is division. A fraction means division. -8 divided by -8 becomes 1. So we have 1y equals -2/8. Now both of them are divisible by 2. I was already putting 4. So they're both divisible by 2. So y it's going to be -1/4. And we have solved for y. Now I'm going to give you another example. This one is also going to be on distributive property. However, there's going to be a slightly change for this one. So for this, we have 5 plus 3 times a plus 4 equals 7a minus 9 minus 10a plus 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, it's first I'm going to go ahead and recognize the two sides of my equation. On the other one, I only had a 15 on the right side, so I knew I had to simplify the left side. However, in this one, we can see that the equal sign is right in the middle, and then we have some simplifying that we need to do on both sides. So first, let's go ahead and recognize where do we have the distribution that needs to happen. So for the left side, this 3, right, we'll be multiplying the a and the 4. And then to have that in red. So 3 will multiply 8 times 4, right? And then on the right side, though, we have that negative right in front of the parentheses. There's actually an invisible 1. Remember, there's always a 1. If we don't see anything, there's a 1. And that negative 1 will be distributed to whatever is inside of that parentheses. So the 9 and the negative 10a. So we're gonna have 5 plus 3 times a plus 3 times 4, and then equals 7a minus 1 times 9, and then minus 1 times negative 10a, and then plus 4. So here we see that the 1, right, it's multiplying the 9 and the negative 10a. And on the other side, we see that 3, it's multiplying 8, and 3, it's multiplying 4. So let's go ahead and simplify. We have 5 plus 3a plus 12 equals 7a. Negative 1 times 9, it's negative 9. Negative 1 times negative 10, it's positive 10a plus 4. Now, we can go ahead and combine like terms. In this case, I can see that the 5 and the 12 can be combined on the left side. So I'm going to end up with 3a plus 17. And then equals. And then on the right side, I can go ahead and combine 7a with positive 10a, which is 17a. And then negative 9 with positive 4, which is negative 5. Okay. Now notice how we have the two variables, right? We have a variable on both sides of the equation. So what we want to do is, again, we want to move the smaller amount or the smaller coefficient with the variable to the other side. So we have 3a here, right? And then we have 17a. So it's more convenient for us to move the 3a since it's the smallest coefficient with the variable a. So I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't want you to confuse it with a fraction or division. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to subtract 3a from both sides. And once I do that, the 3 is going to go away from this side. I'm going to end up with 17 on the left side, and then 17 minus 3a, right? It's 14a. And then I bring down the negative 5. So remember that we want to isolate the variable, right? So we want to leave the a by itself. So we got to move or get rid of the negative 5 and the 14. But again, it's always better to get rid of the number that does not have the variable. So in this case, first we're gonna get rid of the 5. So it was negative, so now it's gonna be positive 5. And we move it to the other side. So negative 5 plus 5 cancels out. So we end up with positive 22 equals 14a. Then 14 is multiplying a, so we divide by 14 both sides. So it's a division. 14 divided by 14 becomes 1, so we have 1a equals 22 over 14. Now notice how 22 and 14 are both even numbers, so they are both divisible by the number 2. That means that we end up 11 over 7 equals 2a. And that is the solution for the second example of solving equations using the distributive property.